Hey friends, it's Renee Bradshaw. I'm doing a 8 card past life reading this evening for a client. Okay, first card that we pull is going to describe your early years. Now, you have the Magician here, and that's kind of an interesting card to get for the early years, because it often is, you have all the tools you need, because look, he does have pentacle, cup, wand, sword. He's got magic at his fingertips. You've got everything you need. I think this means that probably this previous life you were born into a family like this, or perhaps even we'll find out as we go along, but perhaps even sold or given to a family who was very magical, very well off. Perhaps I could see them being magician to nobility, or magician to a town, perhaps this town's magician, or even a witch. It doesn't necessarily be a magician, but here I just think that it was a very magical family, and you were part of that family, and so this isn't you, but this is someone that you had there with you, who was able to help you and guide you and raise you. And so therefore you did grow up with some of these tools. Oh, I have to move. I feel like I'm gonna become part of the ground. My dog knocked me over today and scratched my knee all up. I was wearing wool socks on hardwood floors. That was my fault. Okay. So then card number 2 is your education. Okay, wow, absolutely. The King of Pentacles. Now, seeing both these cards here, earlier I thought I didn't want to be quick to say that the influential family member that was raising you was male, but seeing 2 male cards here, I do believe that now. Your education was well funded. You had all the tools at your hands. It was in abundance. If you see the cake and the, is it wine or port? Perhaps there, multiple animals, a nice house in the background. This person was raising you, and they were I think this actually was a pretty good family situation. At least from the outside, it would appear that way. We'll find out as we go along further. But this household was strong in the magics, I believe. If not in the magics, then maybe a healer for your village, or the king himself, which I really could see. If your parent, if your father or guardian was a powerful magician, like I'm seeing here, likely they were working for this king, and through this king, you may have been a servant to the magician, or maybe an apprentice, but through the king you had all the wealth at your fingertips that you could get an amazing education. Okay, occupation. Absolutely. I see this here, a spiritual leader. I don't really think of it when I see this right now. I'm not thinking spiritual leader, but I'm thinking more of spiritual as in a magician style leader. And I see this card as very peaceful, with followers. And I think that is because you were raised here in this environment, in this situation. You had the tools you needed for as an early child, as a young child. And as you grew older, you're able to take those tools and perhaps go off on your own, I believe. I don't believe you stayed here with the kingdom, because if you notice, everything gets a little bit more simple here. You know, simple mats, simple rooms, simple clothes, from the extravagance here to simplicity. So I could have seen, I see you leaving this life of luxury and kind of taking hold of everything, taking advantage of everything that you had, and going forth. Now, what I'm getting from this so far is I feel like you have a very old soul. And I feel like this lifetime here that we're discussing, I feel like you probably were aware of some of your past lives. And that may have been because you were easily able to get into a situation with the magician. But I also think maybe you were born remembering some of that past life. And because of that, I feel like your parents, I don't feel like the magician was your father. I feel like maybe he was a family friend, but I feel more than likely like you were gifted to him or given to him to be an apprentice at a young age. And I feel like you were successful in learning the lessons because you had an old soul. And so I feel like if you're drawn to into magic, if you're drawn to healing and holistic medicines and approaches, I really feel like that's because this lifetime put that in you. You remembered your past lifetimes and you were able to work hard during that lifetime. So you might not remember everything each lifetime, but there's a little bit of this leader inside of you every time you're reborn, every life you come into. And with that, I think a little bit of the, maybe you're drawn to the magical arts, maybe you're just drawn to fantasy, fantasy books and movies and such. But either way, I really see that this instilled that in you because you had such a successful relationship here with the family you were sold into or given to, and then your own occupation. Social status. Oh, this is perfect. This is super fitting. Absolutely. The Eight of Cups. So you had all this abundance, all of this, and you turned your back on it. And this isn't a negative thing. You saw a different path for yourself. So I see, these cards, this castle, this wealthy, everything you ever wanted lifestyle is right here represented in these cups. And then this simplistic lifestyle that you went to, maybe you felt like working for the king and working for all this, maybe you felt like a little bit of that was fake or too much in the public eye, and you really wanted to work more on getting back to basics, I feel like, or with the nature here, or just to start your own colony, or perhaps religion or magical tradition. But I feel like you had all this here with these two cards, and you turned your back on it to walk off into the wilderness and kind of create your own life. And that's absolutely fitting for social status. So your social status earlier was this wealth, and then you ended with, I wouldn't say pauper. She's definitely not dressed like a pauper, but she's dressed plainly. She's not adorned in, at least not from the back, not adorned in anything, and neither is she here. Neither are you here. But I would say that's definitely your social status, is turning your back on the riches and walking into your own creation path. Oh, so this card is relationships. This is great. This is a celebration card of friends. It's the Three of Cups. I see three witches here in the meadow, or not in the meadow, in the what do you call this, a pond. And they're under the full moon here, and they're celebrating, raising their glasses to whoever they celebrate. Do they celebrate themselves or magic or a god or goddess? But Either way, I really see that as a celebration and a long-lasting friendships. You may not have had a romantic relationship in this lifetime, and I don't think that was a problem for you. I think you were completely happy with that. That was not something that you missed or you worried about. Here, I see you just very happy. You were probably very close with your coven, if that's what you were in, which I really get a really strong feeling that it was magic related. That it was, you were a witch and you were in a coven. Perhaps you were welcomed into this community after you started your own tradition, or perhaps this woman in yellow, who is the oldest woman here, and I hate to say crone because she doesn't look like a crone, but I guess she's the oldest woman here. Perhaps that's you. You were able to start a abundant and successful coven. The more I look at this and see her centered, she's the one between the other two. I really feel like that's what it is. The other two's hair, it kind of throws me off, and I don't base these cards on hair, but the grayness of her hair could be, in a match for the yellow in her hair when she walks away, and the lighter color here too. And I really feel like that, and being in the center here, that just is screaming to me, that's you as a crone, and you had a happy life with your friends. Just did not pursue a relationship during this time, at least not a serious, long-lasting one. This is the death position. So what's nice here is it seems like it was a really fantastic life here on Earth. The world is success and joy and having it all, and reaching your goals, attaining completing your lessons, and that's exactly what you've done in this lifetime. And to me, seeing this card here in death really makes me think that magic was so strongly rooted in her. She's throwing her hat into the air, and I feel like it's getting carried on the wind, and it might be cheesy, but I feel like it's being carried on the wind and carried to her next lifetime. And even though if you're born, you won't always be born remembering all of your past lifetimes explicitly, but I feel like with this card, you definitely were born feeling probably different, probably like you belong somewhere better than you were when you were younger. And you probably remembered glimpses, like maybe you dream sometimes about magic, or you're drawn, like we talked earlier, you're drawn to fantasy or magic or Wicca or, Druidism, lots of different ways that it could show that you remember this past lifetime, that there's more than the mundane, and you definitely achieved it in that lifetime. I see this as being a very happy overall lifetime spread. We have two more cards, and they could reveal, negative things. They could reveal positive things, but either way, I think that your lifetime overall was pretty freaking amazing. Okay, so your lesson learned in this lifetime, the Seven of Cups, and I think this is super fitting here. Again, I know I say that a lot, super fitting, but she's got knowledge and love, and there's plants for herbalism, and there's pentacles and stars, and there's all kinds of magical things here, ingredients to spells or ingredients to a long happy life. Either way, I think during this lifetime, that is, sometimes this card can be like overwhelming, like, oh, just pick one. But I think right here, what this is showing is during this lifetime, because you were born with past knowledge, you were born with remembering who you were, or being like a different child, and that's why you were sent to live with the magician. I think because of that, this card doesn't mean just pick one. It means you were able to learn it all. You were able to do so many different things and really have a really great, complete life here. Obviously, like, there's about 1 billion lessons that we need to learn before our souls can be done. At least that's my belief system. Everyone's got, their own beliefs. But so obviously, if you're back here again, you didn't quite learn every single lesson that you're supposed to learn, which we'll get to that in a minute. But I think this card shows that you learned quite a bit in this lifetime. There's all these books of knowledge, there's all these cups with information and different things in them. And I really think this just means that lifetime you learned how to balance and how to learn. And also you were able to tap into your past lives to carry on some of the knowledge that you had already accrued in the past. And this is the lesson. I think, let me look at my book, but I'm pretty sure this is this is the past life's impact on your current life. I was thinking this is a lesson, but that's a different past life reading I do. But that is this past life's impact on your current life. And I think that's really cool, because this was a really fun life, and I'm really excited to see what that impact is. And look, now this card can be about getting carried away with it's the Knight of Cups, and it can be about being carried away with passion, which I'd say with a lifetime like this, and you were very successful in what you chose to do, I think that maybe you have some of that inside of you still. So when you get a feeling, you want to start something new, you want to do something new, you kind of move into it. You probably have a lot of different passions. You probably have a lot of different hobbies, a lot of different interests, because in this past life, that you were super well-rounded, and you were kind of an expert, where they say you're a jack of all trades and an expert of none. But I would say for this lifetime, you were probably an expert of all trades and a jack of maybe one or two things that aren't on this and showing up in this spread. But here, I think this is a really nice card for impacting your life. You've with the heart's passion, you've followed your passion. A lot of times that passion has come to fruition, if I'm saying that right. A lot of times you have this tiny heart being swallowed up by the big heart. Like maybe you were going down one path and then you realized that's not right. But that path led you to another path, which became a huge part of your life. And I feel like, you have a lot of bigger, important things in your life, and you probably have a lot more hobbies and interests that you're almost like an expert on in this lifetime than possibly a lot of people do. I feel like this shows that your emotions were really well-rounded in this past life, and maybe while not every day has been emotional sunshine in this life, I feel like you've moved past probably a lot of things to move on and get to where where your heart leads, where you want to go. A lot of times I see the hearts in this card and I can't help but just think about love. And this card has, that following your passion meaning behind it. But I really look at this and I always think love. I think about finding love, finding passion in your life. And I think those are all good things. And this has probably brought you to love, a great love, spouse, children, family members, friends. There's probably many out there, but I think altogether this is a pretty great way to end this reading for you for this past life. I think all these cards spelled amazing success for you in that life. And I think this card here, just all the hearts, it just screams love to me. I just can't see it any other way. These made you well-rounded. They made you, it just implemented such a strong belief in your heart, in the deepest part of your soul, that even if you can't like wake up and say, I remember the magician and I remember being a leader, I think you can keep that overall feeling. And the more I look at this, the more I think that's what it is. I think, yes, it's the passion that you follow a lot of projects. I just can't get away from that feeling at all, becoming an expert at many things. But I really feel like a lot of this ended here, here with the friendship, with your coven, with the world, with having it all. And ending right here with just carrying over that love and completion into this lifetime. A jumble. Well, I hope you liked that reading. If you want to get one of these readings of your very own, go to my shop, which is on Etsy. You'll search for Witchy Renee Bradshaw. I wonder if I can just put it here on my arm. Witchy Renee Bradshaw. If not, you probably think I'm nuts and you don't know why my arm is there. But you should check it out if you want one of your own. And keep coming back to my channel. Subscribe. Watch my readings. This is my favorite favorite deck. Like, I tried for many years to read tarot. I read a fairy oracle deck for many years, and I tried to pick up tarot. I could not do it with the, I think it's the Rider-Waite, the real popular one. I got this deck last year, and all the things that were never able to click just started clicking, like, immediately. So I love this deck. But I hope you have a wonderful weekend, guys. Bye.